30 days ago, I made one decision. Speak English every single day, no matter what. No excuses. No skipping. No perfect conditions. Just speak. What happened next completely shocked me. And it will shock you too. Welcome back to Fluent Speak Lab, the channel where real English learners get real results. Every video here is built on one thing: truth. No shortcuts. No fake promises. Just honest strategies that actually work. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button right now, because what I'm sharing today could be the push you've been waiting for your entire English journey. 30 days ago, I was frustrated. I had been learning English for a long time. I studied grammar. I watched videos. I listened to podcasts. I read articles. I did everything that every English learning resource told me to do. And on paper, I was making progress. My vocabulary was growing. My understanding was improving. My reading was getting better. But my speaking was embarrassing. Every time I opened my mouth in English, the fluency I had in my head completely disappeared. Words got stuck. Sentences fell apart. Silences stretched out for way too long. And I would walk away from every English conversation feeling defeated. Like all that studying meant absolutely nothing the moment I had to actually speak. So I made a decision. A simple one. A terrifying one. Every single day for 30 days, I was going to speak English. Out loud. No matter what. No excuses. No waiting until I felt ready. No skipping days because I was tired or busy or not in the mood. Every day. Speak English. That was the only rule. I want to be completely honest with you about what happened because I have seen a lot of 30-day challenge videos online and most of them skip the hard parts. They show you the highlight reel, the breakthrough moment, the confident smile at the end. But they don't show you week 1. And week 1, I need to tell you, was brutal. Day 1, I sat alone in my room and I set a timer for 5 minutes. My only job was to talk in English for 5 minutes straight about anything. It did not matter what, just talk. I lasted about 40 seconds before I ran out of things to say. 40 seconds. 5 minutes felt like climbing a mountain. My brain kept switching back to my native language. I kept stopping mid-sentence because I could not find the right word. I kept editing myself going back and correcting things I had already said out loud, even though nobody was listening. It was uncomfortable in a way I genuinely was not prepared for. Day 2 was not much better. Day 3, I almost quit. I told myself this was pointless. I told myself I was too far behind. I told myself maybe speaking English fluently was just not something I was built for. But I kept going. And somewhere around day 5, something very small, almost unnoticeable, started to shift. I stopped running out of things to say quite so fast. I was still messy. I was still making mistakes constantly, but the words were coming a little bit faster. The silences were getting a little bit shorter. My brain was starting just barely to adjust. And that tiny shift, that almost invisible improvement on day 5 is what kept me going into week 2. Week 2 is where things started to get genuinely interesting. By day 8, I had developed a rough daily routine. Every morning, before I did anything else, I would speak English for 10 minutes. I started narrating my morning out loud. I am making coffee right now. The weather outside looks cold today. I did not sleep very well last night. Simple sentences, ordinary observations, nothing impressive. But something important was happening underneath those simple sentences. My brain was building a habit. It was starting to expect English in the morning. It was starting to reach for English words automatically, without me consciously forcing it. By day 10, I added something new. I started recording myself on my phone, just 2 minutes of talking, raw and unedited, every single day. And then I would listen back. I cannot fully describe how uncomfortable it was to listen to myself speak English in those early recordings. My rhythm was awkward. My pauses were in the wrong places. Some of my sentences made grammatical sense but sounded completely unnatural, like something a textbook would say rather than something a real person would actually say. But here's what those recordings gave me that nothing else could. Clarity, honest, brutal, incredibly useful clarity about exactly what was wrong with my speaking. Not in a general way. Not the vague feeling of just not sounding right, but specific, identifiable patterns. I noticed I always hesitated before certain types of words. I noticed I always used the same 3-sentence structures and avoided everything else. I noticed I dropped my voice at the end of sentences in a way that made me sound unsure even when I was confident. Week 2 gave me a map of my own speaking weaknesses, and that map was worth more than months of passive studying. Week 3 is when the real breakthrough happened, and I want to tell you exactly what it felt like because I think you need to hear this. It was day 19. I was having a real English conversation online with a language partner I had connected with through a language exchange app. We had been talking for about 10 minutes about travel, about food, about completely ordinary things, and somewhere in the middle of a sentence, I realized something. I was not translating. I was not building sentences step by step in my head before speaking. I was not checking my grammar before the words came out. I was just talking. The English was coming directly from thought to mouth, without the usual painful process in between. It lasted maybe 3 minutes before I became aware of it, and the self-consciousness came rushing back. But those 3 minutes, that tiny window of automatic, unfiltered English, felt like the most significant thing that had happened in my entire language learning journey. It was proof. Real, personal, undeniable proof that fluency was not a myth. It was not something that only happened to special people. It was something my brain was actually capable of. It just needed enough repetition, enough consistent daily practice to start building those automatic pathways. Week 3 taught me that fluency is not a destination. It is a direction, and I was finally moving in it. By week 4, something had fundamentally changed. Not just in my English, but in my relationship with English. In the beginning, speaking English felt like a performance. Every conversation felt like a test I might fail. Every sentence felt like a risk. I was always waiting for the moment someone would notice my mistakes and judge me for them. But by day 25, speaking English had started to feel like something else entirely. It felt like a tool, a normal, everyday tool, like using a phone or driving a car. Something I did to accomplish things, not something I did to prove something. That psychological shift from performance to tool was in many ways more valuable than any specific improvement in my grammar or vocabulary, because it changed what speaking English felt like emotionally. And when something stops feeling threatening, you do it more. When you do it more, you get better. When you get better, it feels even less threatening. The cycle works in your favor instead of against you. So here are my honest final results after 30 days of speaking English every single day. My speaking speed increased noticeably, not because I was rushing, but because the retrieval process in my brain had gotten faster. Words came more quickly. Sentences formed more smoothly. My confidence in real conversations went from about 2 out of 10 to about 6 or 7 out of 10. Not perfect. Not fearless, but genuinely functional. I could hold a real conversation without panicking. My self-editing dropped dramatically. I was no longer stopping mid-sentence to correct myself constantly. I was letting sentences finish, even imperfect ones, and moving forward. And perhaps, most importantly, I stopped dreading English conversations. That low-level anxiety that used to sit in my chest every time I knew I would have to speak English. It was mostly gone. Now, here is what I want you to take from this. You do not need 30 perfect days. You do not need ideal conditions. You do not need a language partner or a classroom or a special program. You need one decision, the same decision I made 30 days ago. Speak English today, out loud, for at least 5 minutes about anything at all. Alone, in your room, if necessary. Into your phone. To your pet. To nobody. It does not matter. Then do it again tomorrow. And the day after that. And the day after that. The first week will be hard. The second week will be uncomfortable but interesting. The third week, something will shift, and by day 30, you will not be the same English speaker you are today. I promise you that, not because 30 days is magic, but because 30 days of consistent daily output, 30 days of pushing your brain to produce English under real conditions, creates changes in your brain that no amount of passive studying ever could. Your 30 days start right now. Not tomorrow, not Monday. Right now, speak. Every day. No excuses. Let's go. 30 days from now, you could be a completely different English speaker, or you could be exactly where you are right now. The only difference is one decision you make today. Right now, in the comments, write day 1. Just those 2 words. Day 1. Commit to your 30-day speaking challenge publicly, right here, right now, because saying it out loud makes it real. Share this video with someone who needs that push today. Hit like. Subscribe to Fluent Speak Lab. I will be here every step of your journey. See you in the next video. Day 1 starts now. Let's go.